My fiancée handed her brother my garage code and said, "His business starts Monday. Don't be difficult," I said. "Then you both need new access." She laughed and told him to bring the trailer anyway. By Tuesday, his clients were canceled, my locks were changed, and her mother was apologizing from my driveway. Original post. I'm Marcus, 31M. I work as a product designer for an outdoor equipment company in Denver, which mostly means I spend my days measuring things twice, reading specs carefully, and catching the tiny expensive problems other people call close enough. That habit probably saved my house and my workshop. My fiancée was Jenna, 29F. She worked in dental office administration, very polished, very efficient, very good at saying something wildly unreasonable in a tone that made it sound like the meeting had already happened and I just wasn't paying attention. We'd been together a little over 3 years, engaged for 8 months. She'd been living in my house for just under a year. Important detail: the house was mine before I met her. So was the detached garage workshop behind it. That workshop matters. On paper, it's a garage. In real life, it's where I restore vintage furniture on weekends for extra income. Nothing huge, but real money. Real clients, real insurance rider, real tools, real inventory. My table saw, my dust collector, my finishing racks, my compressor, my client pieces, my risk. My name on everything. Jenna liked calling it unused space, which told me a lot about how seriously she took work that didn't happen under fluorescent office lights. The problem started small. Her cousin stored baby gear in my garage for a few days. It stayed 6 weeks. Her friend used my patio for a photo shoot I found out about when strangers were already in my backyard moving chairs. One Saturday, I came home, and there were folding tables in my driveway, because Jenna had volunteered the space for her aunt's fundraiser pickup without asking me first. Every time I pushed back, Jenna would exhale like I was being difficult and say I was too territorial. I kept saying the same thing. It's not territorial to want to vote in your own property. Apparently that sentence never really landed. The blow-up happened on a Saturday afternoon in my kitchen. Jenna had gone to coffee with her brother Tyler. I'd stopped for burgers on the way home and was setting the bags on the counter when she said, completely casual, "Tyler's detailing business is using your garage starting Monday. Don't be difficult." I turned around and honestly thought I'd heard her wrong. "What?" She leaned against the island like this was no big deal. Tyler had lost his warehouse sublease, apparently. He needed a place to rebuild momentum. My garage had water access, electrical, driveway space, and plenty of room to get him through the summer. Then she said, "I already gave him the keypad code." Tyler was sitting on one of the stools scrolling his phone like he was waiting for me to stop wasting time and catch up to a decision already made. I asked how long through the summer meant. Jenna shrugged. "A couple months, maybe longer if business is good." "Marcus, relax." I asked about my equipment, my insurance, client furniture, water runoff, chemical storage, neighbor complaints, customer traffic. She waved all of it away. "You sand old chairs on weekends. It's not a hospital." Tyler smirked. Then Jenna said the sentence that ended us. "You don't get veto power over helping my family." I looked at her for maybe 2 seconds and said, "Then you both need new access." She laughed. Actually laughed. Then she grabbed her phone and texted Tyler's number right in front of me and said, "Bring the trailer Monday. He's just being dramatic." That was the moment I got very calm. I said, "No, I'm being clear. Your brother is not running a business out of my workshop. And if you think you can hand out my code and volunteer my insured property without me, this engagement is over." That changed her face fast. Suddenly it was. "Are you seriously ending things because my brother needs help?" I said. "No. I'm ending things because you think helping your brother means assigning him my overhead." Then came the tears. Angry ones, not heartbreak. Outrage. She said Tyler had nowhere else to go. I said storage bays exist. Commercial spaces exist. Mobile setups exist. Extended stay industrial yards exist. What didn't exist was a reality where a grown man launched a business out of my workshop because my fiancée decided my answer didn't matter. She called me cold, selfish, said this proved I'd never be a real husband. Maybe, I said, but at least I won't be an involuntary business partner. She went upstairs, packed an overnight bag, and on the way out said, "Call me when you're ready to act like family." I didn't call. I spent the next 4 hours doing paperwork. Photos of every room, inventory photos of the workshop, screenshots of texts, copy of my homeowner's policy. My workshop rider, utility records, business registration, camera backups. Then I called a property attorney a coworker had used during a fence dispute. By Monday morning, I had real advice. Because Jenna had been living there long enough to get mail there, I couldn't just throw her stuff on the lawn and change the locks like an idiot. So my attorney drafted a formal notice ending her permission to occupy the property and giving her a deadline to retrieve her belongings. Clean, legal, boring, exactly how I wanted it. By noon, I had 6 missed calls from Jenna, 4 from Tyler, 3 from numbers I didn't know, and 1 voicemail from Tyler saying he already had clients booked and I needed to be a man and stand behind family. I sent 1 text. Pickup needs to be scheduled. Communication in writing only. That was when the whole family decided I was evil. Update 1: It's been 4 days. Jenna still seems less upset that the wedding is off than she is that I meant what I said. That appears to be the real injury here. Tyler showed up first. Monday morning, 9:15. Trailer hitched, pressure washer in the back. Extension reels. Plastic bins. He rolled into my driveway like a man arriving at a property he had leased. He got about 10 feet before he realized the keypad code didn't work anymore. Then he started pounding on the side garage door. I didn't open it. I checked the cameras and spoke through the intercom. He said, "You just cost me 2 clients. I said, "No, your sister cost you 2 clients when she rented out a shop she doesn't own." That didn't go over well. He called me controlling. Said decent people support family trying to build something. I asked whether that principle extended to his own apartment, because I noticed he only liked family support when it involved other people's insured property. Silence for about 3 seconds. Then he called me a jerk, got back in the truck, and peeled out hard enough to scatter gravel. Next came Jenna's cousin Nate from a number I didn't recognize, telling me I was sabotaging a man's livelihood to win an argument. I replied once. Jenna volunteered my workshop without permission. This is the consequence. No response after that. Unexpectedly, the first reasonable call came from Jenna's mother, Linda. I braced for yelling. Didn't get it. She sighed and said, "I'm not calling to fight. I just need to know if Jenna can get her work clothes." That was the first sane sentence I'd heard in days. I told her yes, but only if it was scheduled, and only if someone neutral came with her. Linda got quiet for a second, then said something I honestly didn't expect. "You don't launch a business out of somebody else's insured shop like it's a free storage unit." I told her that. She didn't want to hear it. That call changed the whole temperature for me, not because it fixed anything. It didn't, but it reminded me I wasn't losing my mind. Jenna came the next afternoon with Linda. I had everything ready in the garage, garment rack, labeled boxes, bathroom stuff bagged, shoes lined up, electronics separated. It looked like a very depressing boutique closing sale next to a very organized woodworking shop. Jenna took one look and said, "Wow, so 3 years fit in cardboard now." "Apparently," I said. She kept trying to drag the conversation sideways. Memories, wedding deposits. How much time she'd spent making my house feel warm. Then she tried to take my shop vacuum, one of my cordless drill kits, and the patio heater. I stopped her, calmly. Receipts on my phone, purchase dates, account statements. Done. She looked at Linda and said, "Can you believe this?" Linda looked exhausted, not angry, just done. She said, "Jenna, take what's yours and stop making this uglier." Jenna cried the rest of the time after that. Before leaving, she said, "Enjoy your precious little workshop." I said, I will. It's cheaper than financing your brother's startup. She slammed the trunk and left. That night she posted something vague about men who love to cosplay as providers until support actually costs them something. 2 mutual friends sent screenshots. I archived them. Receipts. Always receipts. Update 2: It's been a little over 3 weeks, and Jenna did what entitled people always do when reality refuses to cooperate. She escalated. First, she contacted my HOA pretending to still be an active resident, and asked them to approve an extra parking exception for Tyler's detailing trailer, because family is operating a temporary business from the property. That email got forwarded to me because the account was in my name. Then she tried work. Someone sent an anonymous complaint to HR saying I was unstable, retaliatory, and using housing threats to punish a woman for helping family. I got called in by my director on a Thursday morning. I walked in with a folder, ownership documents, insurance rider, formal notice, camera screenshots, timeline, HOA email, everything. My director looked through it, handed it back, and said, "You're fine. Also, this is insane." Exactly. Then came the fake emergency. Friday night, Jenna texted me that Tyler's trailer had been broken into and he just needed to store equipment in my workshop for 1 night. 1 night. That was all. I stared at the screen for 10 seconds and sent one line back. "If he needs storage, call one of the commercial bays I already sent you. Nothing for 2 hours. Then our premarital counselor called me and said this might be a moment to show grace. I told him, grace is asking. This was informing. He went quiet after that. Saturday was the part that almost made me laugh. Jenna actually showed up with Tyler and an enclosed trailer. A literal trailer. Buckets, hoses, extractor, chemical totes, folding chairs, the whole starter pack fantasy of a business that was apparently still based on ignoring the word no. My cameras caught everything. I opened the interior door, not the storm door, and Jenna said, "We're done discussing this. Tyler's just moving in the basics." I said, "No, he isn't." Tyler tried the reasonable voice. "Marcus, I don't want trouble." I said, "Great, then get the trailer off my driveway." Jenna started crying again and said I was humiliating her brother. I told her she'd done that all by herself when she promised him a shop she didn't own. Then I called non-emergency and asked for an officer because 2 adults were trying to access and operate from my property after written notice had already been served. By the time the officer arrived, Tyler had gone from embarrassed to furious. Jenna had gone from furious to victimized. I kept it simple. House pre-owned. Engagement over. Notice served. No consent for access. Repeated third-party interference. Attempted commercial use of residential property. The officer looked at both of them and said no one was operating anything from that property without the homeowner's permission. That ended that. Monday, my attorney sent a cease and desist. No more HOA contact. No more HR complaints. No more attempts to use my address for Tyler's business. No more third-party harassment. No more surprise visits. That finally slowed things down, and while all this was happening, my real life got better. I got promoted to senior designer on a new product line. Better pay. Bigger bonus. More responsibility, yes, but also more peace because I wasn't coming home every night to a relationship where every boundary became a referendum on whether I was generous enough. I started sleeping through the night again. Started going back to the gym. Finished 2 restoration commissions I'd been putting off because my house had felt like a negotiation table. Linda called one more time after the trailer stunt. She sounded embarrassed. She said, "Marcus, I'm sorry." She told everybody a very different version. I said, "I figured." Then she said the line that pretty much closed the whole story for me. Helping family is asking. Assigning them somebody else's overhead is not help. Exactly. Final update, it's been just over 2 months now. This will probably be the last update because there isn't much chaos left, mostly cleanup. 1 courtroom morning, and finally, peace. Jenna filed in small claims asking for $5,400 for household contributions and lost relocation/business expenses. Sounds impressive until you translate it. Some groceries, a few decor items, half an internet bill, storage bins, a small shelving unit, and incredibly, Tyler's canceled detailing deposits because I withdrew promised support. My attorney told me not to get emotional, just get organized, so I did. Bank records, utility statements, receipts, pickup photos, camera timestamps, the formal notice, the HOA email, the cease and desist. The texts where Jenna literally confirmed she gave Tyler my code without asking. Jenna showed up dressed like she was heading to a parent-teacher conference. Soft voice, hands folded, very different energy from the woman who told her brother to bring the trailer anyway. The judge asked a few simple questions. Did you own the house before the relationship? Yes. Was her name ever added to title, mortgage, or insurance? No. Did you ever agree verbally or in writing to let Tyler operate a business from your workshop? No. Did you withhold property Jenna purchased herself? No. Did you agree to reimburse Tyler for canceled jobs or startup costs? No, that was basically it. Claim dismissed. Jenna cried outside the courtroom. Tyler stared at me like I'd personally run over his pressure washer. I got in my truck and went back to work. No speech. No victory lap. Just done. A week later, Linda mailed back Jenna's spare key and included a note. I wish she had listened when no was still just no. That was more accountability than I ever got from Jenna. As for me, I'm good. Better than good, actually. The promotion stuck. The house feels like mine again in a peaceful way, not a defensive way. The workshop too. I reorganized the wall storage. Bought a better finishing light. Rebuilt the outfeed table. Small things. Mine things. I'm not dating anybody serious right now, and that's fine. Turns out a quiet house and a locked garage feel better than a dramatic relationship ever did. That's probably the lesson in all this. Support is not something you steal and call love. If someone says family, loyalty, or compassion means they get unilateral access to your property, your work, or your peace, that isn't generosity. That's entitlement in friendlier language. Jenna didn't want partnership. She wanted authority she had never earned. She wanted me to confuse surrender with kindness. I didn't. Best decision I made the entire relationship.